Why is Joe Biden signing with the biggest Hollywood agency in the game right now? The answer may surprise you and disturb you. Welcome back to the 511 show. And, this is a story that's a very, very eye opening one. And it's eye opening in a sense that no one really wants to talk about why exactly this happened. But yesterday, former President Joe Biden, the same president who just got kicked out of the White House a couple of weeks ago, is now signing with CAA. For those of you guys who don't know what CAA is, that is Creative Artists Agency. It is the biggest Hollywood agency in the whole town right now. So they are the agency that runs the show. They signed an 82-year-old former president to do, no one can tell you exactly why, but he has done this. So let's get into the story here. It says here that former President Joe Biden has re-signed with CAA. He was previously represented by CAA during 2017 to 2020. So right after Obama's second term ended, he ended up signing with CAA. Obama himself also signed with CAA as well. It's one of those things where you go back and you think to yourself, why is it that Barack Obama got millions upon millions of dollars for a book deal? I want to say book deal. Is there something else going on here? We might find out here very, very soon. But it says here that this is the statement from CAA that President Biden is one of the most respected and influential voices in national and global affairs. This is CAA talking. So, I mean, look, you can't expect them to bury their own client. I get that, but it's like this is the bubble of Hollywood in perfect realization right here. His lifelong commitment to public service is one of unity, optimism, dignity, and possibility. We are profoundly honored to partner with him again. And when you look at pretty much the majority of the articles that are reporting on this, they're not really telling you exactly what CAA and Joe Biden is going to do. I mean, this is an 82-year-old man. I don't think that he's going to be starring any Hollywood blockbusters anytime soon. No big-time Netflix TV series. So it's like, what is really going on here? What is this all about? Well, if you want to ask that question, let's figure out who's actually running the show at CAA at the moment. Now, what you see right here, this is billionaire Francois-Henri Pinault and his wife, Selma Hayek, actress, by the way. And he is basically the guy who's on top of the mountain in the entire CAA food chain. CAA is not an agency that you sign with when you're on the up and up. Like someone who's, maybe he's done a couple of specials or done a couple of TV shows. And man, that guy has potential to be the next big thing. Let's sign that. No, CAA is where you sign when you have pedigree. You have to be quite literally in the club to sign with CAA. And that $750 million deal was essentially what solidified CAA as a top dog in the entire Hollywood industry. Now, if you have heard of this man, you may know that it's not just CAA that he controls, essentially. He controls a lot of brands. There are a lot of big name entities that are under this guy's wing. Francois is the president and CEO of Kering, which is essentially a luxury group that has a lot of big name, expensive luxury brands under its umbrella. So if you're looking at a company like Gucci, it's under its umbrella. If you're looking at a company like Bugatti, Saint Laurent, and another one that I found to be very, very interesting that is also under the umbrella of this organization is a little company called Balenciaga. Now, for some of you guys, you may have just paused listening to that name. Some of you guys may have never heard that name before, but what is Balenciaga? Well, Balenciaga is essentially a luxury fashion brand that has a lots of big name celebrities who have promoted this brand over the last several years. Its biggest ambassador right now is Kim Kardashian. If you guys recall, a couple of years ago, Balenciaga was exposed for some very, very disturbing ad campaigns that they were running at the time. Basically, people started to look at the Instagram account for Balenciaga and realized that there was a lot of very, very disturbing images and little Easter eggs, let's just call it that were hidden in advertisement, particularly involving children. And this was one of many that was exposed during that time period, but it wasn't the only one. Essentially, people started noting that when you look into the background of a lot of these photo shoots, there was nods to the sexualization of children. There was essentially references to old cases regarding child pornography. There were artists who were known for depicting children in very, very disturbing situations, whether it be, with nudity, obviously, even some downright horrific, you could say demonic type images if you go in and search these names, and people started to uncover a whole bunch of stuff that they did not like seeing. I mean, we're talking everything from toddlers in these photos posing with BDMS sex toys and alcohols and these weird bears and stuff like that. I mean, there was things people were showing that they had a court case relating to federal child pornography laws in advertisements that featured children, and it doesn't take a lot to kind of make the connection of exactly what was going on here. This was a big scandal a couple of years ago. People tried to do their best to, I guess, hush hush everything that was going on behind the scenes here, but a lot of people saw it, a lot of people figured out what was going on, and in response to this, Balenciaga essentially nuked their entire Instagram account so that no one could go back and see what was really going on in a lot of these photos here. Now, some people have recovered a lot of these photos, and let's just say that the conclusions of this was very, very disturbing. However, Balenciaga themselves just kind of, poo-pooed on the whole thing and put out a very, very generic apology and tried to move on the best they could. We apologize for displaying unsettling documents on our campaign. We take this matter very seriously and are taking legal action against the parties responsible for creating the set, including unapproved items for our Spring 23 campaign photo shoot. We strongly condemn the abuse of children in any form, and we stand for the children's safety and well-being. This was their statement when things started really getting hot. Now, at the same time, Balenciaga's, I guess you could say, ambassadors, obviously being Kim Kardashian and a few others who had worked in recent campaigns at the time, they really didn't have much to say about this whole thing. They basically took the approach of, let's just lay low till the heat dies down, and then we can go back to doing more ad campaigns, and hopefully no one will realize what we got caught doing several months ago. The thing about Hollywood is that it's such an incestuous industry that it's not very hard to find a connection to one person or another. And when you start looking at all of these entities and these brands and the people involved with them at the very, very top, you start seeing a lot of disturbing parallels and a lot of disturbing relationships about how one entity came to be to another, and one's relationship with one entity directly affects another relationship. And here's what question I'm trying to get to here is that Joe Biden, the president of the United States, who just left a couple of weeks ago, is now re-signed with this brand that his former running mate Barack Obama is also signed to as well. And there's some things going on with Barack Obama if you want to look into some scandalous information recently as well. And the question is that why is it that Hollywood and our government seems to be so closely intertwined with one another through the use of a lot of these companies that can very well serve as middlemen, essentially, for any kind of outright corruption and scandal that could be happening behind closed doors? I mean, is CAA essentially being used as a middleman or kind of like a standby here for something else that's going on behind closed doors? Like, is Joe Biden on the cusp of another multi-million-dollar book deal? Who out there is buying Joe Biden's books? Well, when's the last time you talked to anyone who bought a Joe Biden book and read it cover to cover? You can say the same thing about Barack Obama. We can pretty much say very comfortably that Barack Obama is probably a lot more popular than Joe Biden, but the question again has to be asked, what is really going on here? And according to the media, there's nothing really going on here. He just decided to sign to a major Hollywood industry to do stuff and things. Let me know what you guys think about this story. Do you think that there's a bigger story here that's not being told? Or what's your take on Joe Biden signing with CAA once again? What do you think is actually going on? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll talk to you guys later on the next episode. Peace.